breathe. It's Shabbat. We're ready for this. You've been ready for this for a while, and this is good. We're all good. I'm going to forget a lot of things. There are many things I want to say, and I've already forgotten half of them, so we're good. You ready? Shabbat Shalom. Yeah. Yep, you're done. Yeah, because there's very little that you're doing in the beginning. You start with that, with the Kaddish on 69, okay? And there's not even a mic on you for that anymore, for that. Come on up. Take your prayer book too. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. How's my volume? Is it good? Whatever it shows on the level. Shabbat Shalom. We have a wonderful... We have actually a wonderful celebration tonight. We have a wedding, but that's every Friday for Shabbat. But we have, obviously, we're celebrating the fact that Ivy is now Bat Mitzvah. So she will be leading the service, which she wasn't certified to be able to do until she turned 13. And it is also Memorial Day weekend. So I will say it now in case I forget to say it later, because Shabbat is a time when you get to suspend mourning. It's a time that's supposed to be joyful. I will tell you one of my pet peeves is when someone says Happy Memorial Day. I feel like somebody just punched me in the stomach. How could you have happy and memorial in the same breath? So try not to do that, okay? Try not to do that, especially not around me. No, please don't do that. It is a solemn time that we are grateful to be able to acknowledge and honor the memories of those who have served our country and have died serving the country, or who have died and had served. For Memorial Day, at least in the way we've been observing it here, if you served and you did not die in action, but you served and then you eventually died, even if it was at over 100 years old to whatever it was that got you at that age, we still honor your memory on Memorial Day. So I have said that. We may wind up saying it one more time during the service, but I wanted to acknowledge that. But for Shabbat, as I say, we're supposed to suspend this. So today is a day that's mostly dedicated to Ivy. And I'll get this out of the way now also, and that is that I think that possibly one of the first people who I knew and got to know well was your great-grandmother, because she was here. She was everywhere all the time, both congregations all the time. I don't know how she did that. And she made her presence known wherever she was, and she was a blessing. And so I knew her. I found out something about the people who came before her, and they were blessings. They made a difference in the world. I don't know if you know this, and Barbara's going to have to help me because I don't remember. I think that I was roommates with Barbara before she was married. Yeah. I think a bunch before, because I remember we were roommates at some event, and I got to hear about this guy, and she got to hear about stuff, and we'll have to stay friends forever because we know too much about each other now. No, I'm just kidding. But that's I don't know that I could tell you how much I love your family, and how connected I feel to the family, and I could go on forever, and I'm not going to do that. But it's your family makes a huge impact in this world. And you have already made an impact in some of the things you do. And I am so excited to imagine what's next in your life every day. Not to put pressure on you, because it's not a pressure thing. It's just the way your family is. I can't wait to see what goes on next. So our service today, if you have not been to a service before, you have a siddur in front of you. The ones in front of you have light gray. There are also dark gray ones outside, just in case you prefer to pretend you're using a Hebrew book instead of pretend you're using an English book. And I say pretend because it's the same stuff in each book. You'll notice it's really clever how they put the page numbers in the middle of the pages, and then they stack them up here, and if they bind them this way, then you feel like you're doing Hebrew, and if you bind them this way, you feel like you're doing English. But as a Siddur, we're going to start on a page, and most of the time, we're only going to be doing it either in Hebrew or in English. And most of the time when we're doing Hebrew, there's transliteration for anyone whose Hebrew doesn't feel strong and wants to fake it. It's okay. Or follow along and your Hebrew's not strong. And then some of the time we will be doing Hebrew and English, but most we won't. So if you see that we're doing this paragraph in Hebrew, expect that we will go on to something after that, and just keep following along that way. And we will begin on page 65, but before we get there, we have a tradition here that we leave all of the stress of this past week. Do you remember last Friday? Anybody remember last Friday, what you were doing last Friday? It was a long time ago. Do you remember any of the things that you did or you thought or you wanted to accomplish during the week? Shabbat is a good time for you to try to do that. When it's a Bat Mitzvah week, there are usually a lot of things to think about, a lot of things to stress about. I sometimes like to say to the families, you know, Sunday's coming. That's a day when you get to wake up and you have no more rehearsals, no more practice. You don't have to be doing this. Sunday's coming. Every once in a while, a family will say, well, that's terrible. I'm looking forward to this. I don't want it to already not be Bat Mitzvah day. The point is, she's been doing this. She's been getting ready for this all her life. But Mom, Dad, you could stop stressing. It's Shabbat. It's going to be awesome, whatever it is. And I'm looking forward to this. But our tradition here then is that we let all of our stresses go. We take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. Try again. Let it out slowly. See, I do it nowhere near the candles. We begin our service on page 65 as we invite the Joseph family to come up and help us, lead us in these blessings. And in our tradition, please rise if you are able. Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We praise you, eternal God, sovereign of the universe. You hallow us with your mitzvot and command us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Amen.
Let there be joy.
Let there be light.
Let there be peace.
Let there be Shabbat. We continue with the Kiddush, which is found on page, I'm guessing 165, or 166, or 160, one of those. If you're looking for the translation, it's on 166. If you're looking for the Hebrew, it's on 165.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafem.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'yachava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom tehila lemikrae kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodeshecha, v'ahava uv'ratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. Uh-oh. It's almost like grape juice. It was almost like grape juice. It's a little bit Manischewitzy. You may be seated. Each of these services have a different flavor, and Ivy chose this service because she liked its flavor. We continue on page 66. We are going to sing the first and last verses of Lecha Dodi, and I'm going to let you know there are some traditions where when we do the last verse of Lecha Dodi, we stand up and we look at the back and we watch for who comes in that door, because we're expecting the bride to come in, the Sabbath bride to come in. There's another tradition that I heard about it that said there were some congregations that the people who donated the most got to sit in the front, closest to the ark. But on Shabbat, we all turn around, and then the people who didn't donate the most were now the front ones. It shows that everybody is equal. There are also some traditions where we don't stand up. So I am allowing you to choose which tradition you want and which explanation you want to believe about why you might be turning around or not. But I do encourage you to look for the Shabbat bride, who may or may not be coming in as soon as we get there. We're on page 66. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmiyanu el hamiyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'tila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Here she comes. Bohi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, Gam v'simcha u'v'tzola. There are people watching online who are worshiping with us, and they have a prayer book that they can look at also, so I may sometimes tell you what page we're on. We're on page 67 for them. O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness and of the impulse within us for justice and mercy, we pray that this hour of worship may be one of vision and inspiration. Help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives.
Bless all who enter this sanctuary in search and in need, all who bring to this place the offering of their hearts. May our worship here lead us to fulfill our words and intentions with acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Amen. We're going to continue on page 68, and we're going to sing a song that says, we are all, even the brothers and sisters, we're all glad to be sitting here together, and on a day like today, we are all brothers and sisters. Hine ma tovu manaim, Shabbat Achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manaim, Shabbat Achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, Shevet Achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, Shevet Achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov manayim, Shevet Achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov manayim, Shevet Achim gam yachad.
Yitzkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba.
Amen.
B'madi v'achirute v'yamlich malkute. Becha yechonu v'yomechon u'chaye d'chol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv v'meru.
Amen. Yehesh Rabba mevorach,
Le'alam olam me'amaya yitbarach, yitbarach, yishabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei kudesha,
Brichu,
le'la min kol berchata v'shirata,
Tush bechata v'nechemata, da'amihiran be'alma.
v'meru.
Amen.
Baruch hu at Adonai hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai hamevorach la'olam va'ed.
As day departs, as the dark of night descends, we lift our eyes to the heavens. In awe and wonder, our hearts cry out.
Eternal God, how majestic is your name in all the earth.
A vast universe, who can know it? What minds can fathom it? We look out to the endless suns and ask, what are we? What are our dreams and our hopes? What are we that you are mindful of us? What are we that you should care for us?
And yet within us abides a measure of your spirit. You are remote, but oh how near, ordering the stars in the vast solitudes of the night, yet whispering in our minds that you are closer than the air we breathe. For you made us little less than divine, and crowned us with glory and honor. With love and awe we turn to you, and in the dark of evening we seek the light of your presence.
One and only God, you have made each of us unique and formed us to be united in one family of life. Be with us, Eternal One, as we seek to unite our lives with your power and your love.
Declaring now your oneness and our own hope for unity. In ourselves, the law that binds world to world and heart to heart.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'achavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavcha, u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol me'otecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavcha, chayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, Ubelektecha baderech, ubeshochbecha, ubekumecha, ukshartam neot al yadecha, v'chayu letotafot bein einecha, uchtabtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvishorecha. Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'yitem kedoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeti etchem מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
You shall love your eternal God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your being. Set these words, which I command you this day, upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be symbols before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. So shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. I am your eternal God, who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I am your eternal God.
In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness, a world waiting still to be redeemed, give us, a source of good, the courage to say, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and your love.
From Egypt, the house of bondage, we were delivered. At Sinai, amid peals of thunder, we bound ourselves to your purpose. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, we survived oppression and exile, time and again overcoming the forces that would have destroyed us.
Our failings are many, our faults are great, yet it has been our glory to bear witness to our God and to keep alive in dark ages the vision of a world redeemed.
May this vision never fade. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we sing with one accord, as Moses, Miriam, and Israel sang at the shores of the sea.
Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha leda b'kodesh, nora tehilo dosefele, nora tehilo dosefele. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la.
B'nai Amar, and it has been said, the Eternal One delivered Jacob and redeemed us from the hand of one stronger than ourselves. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. We praise you, O God, Redeemer of Israel. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Eternal God, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up to find our hearts waiting to do your will.
This gives light to all the world.
O God of Israel, may our worship on this day help us to grow in loyalty to our covenant with you and to the way of life it demands. Let the way of gentleness and justice, the path of truth and peace.
Vishameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asut et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Vishameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asut et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Vishameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asut et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Vishameru v'nei ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Please rise for the tefillah, which begins on page 76.
Adonai, Sifatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanara, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevii Gula Libnei V'nehem, L'man Shemo B'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah Rav leHoshia. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim. Tzomech noflim v'rofeh cholim, U'matir asurim. ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לך חיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
Amen.
Your might, O God, is everlasting.
Help us to use our strength for good.
You are the source of life and blessing.
Help us to choose life for ourselves and our children.
You are the support of the falling.
Help us to lift up the fallen.
You are the author of freedom.
Help us to free the captive.
You are our hope in death as in life.
Help us to keep faith with those who sleep in the dust.
Your might, O God, is everlasting.
Help us to use our strength for good.
You are Kadosh, holy. Your name is Kadosh, holy. And those who strive to be Kadoshim, holy, declare your glory day by day. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We praise you, Eternal One, the Holy God.
ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת קורא עונג שבת מקדשי שבי שבת כולם ישבעו ויתענגו מטובך שבת. Thank you. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת קורא עונג שבת והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת קורא עונג שבת זכר למעשה וראשית שבת זכר למעשה וראשית שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת קורא make Shabbat. You get to sit down. I forgot. Now it's my turn. We read together on 79. God of Israel, may our worship on this Sabbath bring us near to all that is high and holy. May it bind the generations in bonds of love and sharing, and unite us with our people in common hope and faith. And through Sabbath rest and worship, may we learn to find fulfillment and joy in the vision of peace for all the world. You are with us in our prayer, in our love and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble and pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Eternal source of good, we give thanks for the numberless gifts and blessings that fill our days, for life itself and its endless variety, for all that sustains body and mind, for love and friendship, for the delights of the senses, and for the excellence of your Torah, which deepens our life and enriches our days. Teach us, God of wonders, to work for a just and compassionate society where all may share your gifts in the joy of freedom.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Ki Ata Hu Melech Adon L'Kol HaShalom. Tahu melech adon l'chol ha'shalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. V'tov b'enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'kol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam.
Until this part in the service, we gave you words to say. They're inspiring, but now you get to say the words that are in your heart as we take a moment of silent prayer. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל העולם. ואמרו, אמרו Amen. At this time in our service, our hearts and our prayers turn to those who are ill or recuperating. We turn to the inside back cover. And I invite you to call out names, people for whom you think we could use some prayers, the help of our prayers for theirs, for anyone who's ill or recuperating. For these names, for the names we choose to hold in our hearts and not say out loud, we pray together. O God, in our hearts we name those who are facing illness and pain. We join our prayers with the prayers of all who love them. Give them renewed comfort and courage. Strengthen in them the healing powers you have placed within us all. Guide the hands and hearts of those who are entrusted with their care. May the knowledge of your love and ours give added hope to them and to their dear ones. May they find even greater strength because our prayers are linked to theirs. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh HaCholim. We praise you, eternal God, the source of healing and health. Shebeirach avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mekor habracha lehavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. It has become our tradition to also bless those who are what we call the first responders. It includes military, police, firefighters, EMT, doctors, nurses, veterans. We say, Mishaberach avotenu v'imotenu, may the one who blessed and protected our ancestors guard all those whom we've entrusted with the responsibility of defending our freedom, protecting us, healing us. In this country, in the land of Israel, and everywhere they've been called to serve. Give them courage to succeed and strength to persevere. May they return home safely, and let us say, Amen. It's your turn. You ready? She's ready.
In Judaism, we are taught Maimonides' 8 levels of tzedakah. The word tzedakah translates to justice or fairness. The highest level, according to Maimonides, is where the donor gives the recipient the aid and assistance needed to become self-supporting. So while the lower 7 levels deal with the best ways to give a temporary gift, Maimonides teaches us that the greatest form of tzedakah is to help others learn how to help themselves. One of the most effective ways to ensure financial security in others is by helping them receive a good education. Having a good education early in life opens us so many opportunities later on. In fall of 2019, 60% of the kindergarten students in Shreveport and Bossier City were not kindergarten ready. In January of 2021, Louisiana school enrollment was down 17,000, and half of that decrease was pre-kindergarten and kindergarten enrollment. These are crucial learning years because 90% of brain development occurs between birth to age 5. For my Bat Mitzvah project, I have decided to raise and donate money to the Community Foundation of North Louisiana's Early Childhood Education Fund. The Louisiana Child Care Assistance Program provides financial assistance to low-income families to help pay for high-quality childcare. In fall of 2019, 842 kindergartners enrolled, with 188 on the waiting list. The Community Foundation aims to raise $900,000 to help fund more spaces for Caddo and Bossier City children on the waiting list. Many of you here today have contributed to this effort, and I'd like to thank you for helping support the Community Foundation in their efforts to make early education more accessible to the children in North Louisiana. Shabbat Shalom.
So now we have things that we want to give you from B'nai Zion, and I'm going to go first. I'm coming over here. The presents are here. I got to go under. So I mentioned 2 people in the family before, and before I continue, I want to point out that it's not just like a couple of ladies in this family of yours who are the inspiration to me in this community. The women all inspire me, but the men do also, starting with your grandfather, who's the patriarch of the family, who I have gotten to know, and he has been a leader of Agudath Achim for as long as I can remember. I know he probably feels that, right? Other people sometimes get to be leader, but anything that I need to do, I'll call him and he'll know what to do, whatever the role is. Your grandmother has been the president of the sisterhood almost for as long as I can remember, and when she wasn't, again, it always felt like it was, that whatever needed doing, she has these amazing ideas for projects, and whenever I have things that I need that I don't know who else to turn to, I'll call her and she'll know. And so it starts there. I talked about your mom. She is now, and it's been a few years, it's hard to tell because we just had this 1 year in pandemic and suspended animation. I can't count anymore. I have no idea how long it's been. But she's been the education director, which kind of blows my mind because I think of her as old as you sometimes, and now she is also, again, another person who I look up to and rely on as the voice of stability and reason and pulls things together somehow in lots of ways. And your dad is a pillar in our community. I turned to him for everything from Holocaust. He became the Holocaust Remembrance Service chair, and then has been my, again, I mean, when I talk about this family as rock for me, they're rocks for me. But it's not just that, it's also aunts and uncles, and I have been, I am so blessed to know your family, even your brother. So and it's not about him, so I don't even want to talk about him a lot because it's supposed to be about you, but I'm going to tell you that one of my favorite things in all of the years that I have been involved at Agudath Achim was when he was like this. I mean, it's hard to believe that Caleb was a little guy, but for a minute he was a little guy, and he would dress up in his tie and his vest, and he would carry like maybe 1 chumash at a time, because that's about all he could carry, and he was a helper then, and he was always a role model. And then there's you. And you inspire me. you and I have talked about a little bit how I feel like you are comfortable in any situation that you get yourself into anywhere, whether it's the sports and the music and it's just amazing. Your education, everything that you do always impresses me. And it's not hard to look up to you because you're already taller than me. But I truly do. I'm very impressed with you, and I can't wait to see. It's not supposed to put pressure on you. I'm not trying to say, oh, what am I going to do next? Rabbi's waiting to see what I'm going to do next. It's not that I'm trying to put pressure on you. I'm just truly excited to watch you grow and turn into who you are. So from me is a yad. I know you don't get to read Torah for us here, but for my bat mitzvah, I did not get a yad. And when I started to see people who had their own yad, that was something that I thought was a very cool thing, because it reminds you of the fact that Torah is the guide that points you to whatever it is that you need. It's right there. It's a special yad that reminds you of your moment here, that there's a wall, and that you're a rock. And so there's that. And then I have, next, is sisterhood. Representing sisterhood is Jerry Black. Go by the microphone, please.
Ivy, come here, darling. You precious, beautiful girl. You have been blessed with many special gifts. Use them wisely, celebrate them, and share them with the world.
You're going to need a microphone, I'm sorry.
When your body gets tired, swim with your heart. This is from our sisterhood. Your great-grandmother was a dear, dear friend of mine, and so Bador.
Thank you. Representing our brotherhood, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I just realized that I don't want to leave things out.
Nothing left to say.
Yeah, there is. She's doing a great job. I didn't say she's doing a great job. You could say
You're
that.
incredible. I mean, she's incredible, what she's done. But this is the Joseph family, though. Coming from the Ginsburg family, too. Dave is the pillar of AA. Like Rabbi said, if I have to call anybody AA, I know I have to call Dave, and it'll get done. You did a fantastic job. And we're fortunate to have you and your family here. And like Rabbi said, you're a brilliant student, an incredible musician, and a great athlete. You're swimming. I follow it through your dad on Facebook, and it's absolutely incredible. So all I got to say is, Curtis, you better watch out for the boys, okay? Because she's beautiful on top of all this. But this is from the Brotherhood. It's embossed with your name, so you remember that we're always here for you. This is always your home, both congregations. And we're just so pleased and happy with everything you've done and become. Thank you very much. You're great.
And representing the congregation is our president. Let me take these. You just put them down there.
They've said it all. But it's meant from the heart, and that's what's the most important. You know, it's always a piece of paper. It doesn't matter what degree, what accomplishment, they give you a piece of paper. And so here we are. This is to certify that Ivy Tova Joseph, the daughter of Barbara and Curtis Joseph, conducted the Shabbat Evening Service at Benedetti congregation in honor of her bat mitzvah. And there's a few signatures on here. But anyway, it's my pleasure to present this to you, and I hope we'll see you often here. And look forward to tomorrow.
And you, Ivy, get to sit down for a moment. And Madam President, you want to stand over there and do the announcements? You are welcome to, since you're already over there.
Shabbat Shalom and Mazel Tov to Ivy and her family. It is so good to see all of you here with us. We look forward to continuing the celebration with you tomorrow morning at Agudath Achim. For Memorial Day, we will be placing or replacing flags at the graves of the veterans in the B'nai Zion cemeteries. Please contact us if you happen to notice a veteran's gravesite that doesn't have a flag on it. We will meet at the Jewish section of the Greenwood Cemetery on Stoner Avenue at 11 a.m. this coming Sunday. The B'nai Zion office will be closed on Memorial Day, and then we will be switching to summer hours, which means that it'll be open from 9 to noon, Monday through Friday. This coming Tuesday night, Rabbi Jana will host Together Tuesday, where people from all backgrounds get an opportunity to talk to each other and share some spiritual moments. That is available through Zoom, and you can sign up through the B'nai Zion event page on our website. Rabbi Jana's prayer book, Hebrew, meets Wednesday at 5:30, and the biblical Hebrew meets Thursday at 6 p.m. Not only will Simcha Shabbat be celebrated next Friday, June 4th, which means that we'll be celebrating birthdays or anniversaries in June, but we will also have a special dedication during the Shabbat service for the Shirley and Lionel Eltis Rabbinical Office Suite. The best way to find details about upcoming events is in your email, one call, or online at the B'nai Zion website. Donations were made to B'nai Zion Sisterhood Flower Fund in loving memory of Mortimer Hertzberg by Deb Collier. In loving memory of Bill Otto, also by Deb Collier. I would like to take this opportunity to invite David Ginsburg to tell us about the Agudath Achim news and Mazel Tov to Grandpa of Ivy.
I need your... I have it here. The microphone's already here, sorry. So we might as well be by the microphone.
The annual meeting will be Sunday at 3 p.m., preceding a board meeting, after a board meeting that will precede it at 2 p.m. Sunday afternoon. Flags have already been placed at our cemetery, so if you would like to go out and visit Sunday, it will be unlocked and open, and we hope you enjoy the experience. Our office will be closed for Memorial Day Monday as well. Exploring Judaism, Rabbi Sidney's class will be Tuesday, June 1st, 7 p.m., and I believe this will be in person and Zoom. And her topic will be Raising a Mensch, Brit Milah, and B'nai Mitzvah, and Raising Jewish Children. Rabbi Feivel's class will be 613 Relevant Commandments, Thursday, June 3rd, 7 p.m. I believe that is Zoom only. Shalom Arts Camp will be Monday through Friday, July 19th through the 23rd, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. for ages 4 through 12. And registration forms are in the foyer of the synagogue, or certainly call the office. And thank you all for joining us this evening. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And I'm going to add, since you reminded me then, that Camp Chai is the registration for the campers is also live on the Federation the Jewish Federation page, and they're looking for staff, and they're looking seriously for staff. So if you can do any role in the staff, we look forward to that. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. That's later. Thank you. See how we already know each other. We didn't even finish sentences. We know what we're doing. So at this point, actually, Ivy and I are going to stand in front of the open ark. I'm going to bless her. And when we open the ark, I am going to invite you to stand if it's comfortable for you to do so. If it's not, please don't. But I'm going to be blessing her in front of the ark. And then we're going to turn to page 148 for the Aleinu. לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. When the ark is closed, you may be seated. Rabbi, would you come and help with this part, please? We continue on page 151, and as Kathy said, we are thrilled when the community gets to worship together. In this case, part of what it means is that I get to invite Rabbi Sidney to come and help us with this part of the service. This is our memorial service, and as I mentioned before, it's especially poignant when it's also Memorial Day weekend. We begin on page 151. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people, and those of every race and nation who has been a blessing to humanity. And in our congregation, we acknowledge that this year we've lost 2 people in the United States military. We've lost 137 police officers, 68 were to COVID. We've lost 2 officers in Louisiana. We've lost 8 canine officers. We've lost 44 firefighters, 15 were COVID related. 1 firefighter was from Louisiana. You already know the numbers, the staggering numbers of people who have died of COVID, and our hearts go out to them. We've lost over 3.5 million people in the world, and over 10,500 in Louisiana, and our hearts go out to them. As we remember them, let us meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. I invite you to turn to page 152. When cherished ties are broken and the chain of love is shattered, only trust and the strength of faith can lighten the heaviness of the heart. At times, the pain of separation seems more than we can bear, but love and understanding can help us pass through the darkness toward the light. Out of affliction, the psalmist learned the law of God, and in truth, grief is a great teacher when it sends us back to serve and bless the living. We learn how to counsel and comfort those who, like ourselves, are bowed with sorrow. We learn when to keep silence in their presence, and when a word will assure them of our love and concern. Thus, even when they're gone, the departed are with us, moving us to live, as in their higher moments they themselves wished to live. We remember them now. They live in our hearts. They are an abiding blessing. However brief may be our time on earth, O God, you endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. We now recall the loved ones whom death has taken from us during this past 30 days, during this period of Shloshim. We remember Henry Brenner, Robert Bronig, Ron Riley, and Fred Phillips. Do you have anyone for Shloshim?
We are remembering Marvin Rubenstein, Rabbi Feivel's uncle, and we're in Shiva for him currently.
We remember congregants' parents who died this past year. We remember Abry Ken Jr., Tommy Crowder, Sophie Lipo, Robert Talbert, Joseph Paris, Artis Robison, and we remember George Rothkopf. And as we remember those who died at this season in years past, we take them into our hearts with our own. Those for whom we're observing Yortzeit this past week at B'nai Zion include Tamara Atkins, Georgiana Graves Bailey, Gussie Chernick, Mortimer A. Cohen, Gustav S. Friedman, Alvin Gardspain, Claire Goldberg, Mortimer Hertzberg, Ruth Kallenberg, Loris Levy, Carl Levy, Max Morris, Bill Otto, Ralph Perlman, Keith Norman Rabinowitz, Esther Selber Rosenthal, Barney Rubin, Molly Shanhouse, Robert Simon Treif, Mildred Lottie Werner, and Jack Wiener Sr.
At Agudath Achim this week, we are remembering Philip Lieber, Zelig Wenger, Wolf Gellickman, Ellie Kaminsky, Sarah Witriol, Nathan Cottle, and Reuben Shaven.
And I thought that because it's Memorial Day, if you have someone in your family or someone you knew who served and died and you'd like to call out their names now, I invite you to do so. And obviously this is the weekend where we remember them, and we will have more opportunities to remember them if you choose to visit at the cemetery. I have to tell you, seeing our cemeteries with flags is just one of the most powerful things. So I'm grateful that this community allows us to do that. In this moment of memory, our griefs and sympathies are mingled. Loving God, we rise as together we praise your name. Rabbi, would you lead us in the Mourner's Kaddish, please?
We're on page 154. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divara chirute v'yamlich malchute, B'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru Amen, Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ul'almei almaya. Yit barach, v'yishtabach, v'yit pa'ar, v'yit romam, v'yit naseh, v'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shmei dekudsha brichu. Le'elad min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, ta'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael, v'imru Amen. Zichronam livracha, may all their memories be for a blessing.
Thank you. You may be seated. We're going to sing Ein Keloheinu on page 159 together.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Micheloheinu, Michadonenu, Michemalkeinu, Michemoshienu.
rise for the closing benediction. You gonna help me? I'm gonna hold on to you too while we do this, because I forgot to do it in front of the open ark. Help me point. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you. May God protect you. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May the light of God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Shining on you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's face be lifted up to you. May God grant you peace. I always say that God has something to look up to you about. Shabbat Shalom. Mazel Tov. Shabbat Shalom. Mazel Tov. Ya la 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 la.
Well, I was reading this. I read some of these letters. Oh, neat. So maybe that's not what it's going to look like.